Here's a full in-depth guide about the new infantry hero in Call of Dragons, Goresh. We will briefly take a look at his skills, his best pairings, and there is one pair, actually two. There are two pairs that you should avoid at all cost. I will tell you why, I will explain, and I'm gonna give you an open field talent tree. Of course, we will also talk about best artifacts. The reason why I'm going to give you only an open field talent tree is because at least 90% of us, we care about open field rather than rallies or garrisons, whatever. Open field is for majority of people, so that's why I'm going to give you that specific talent tree. Without further ado, let's go.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Now, I call this guy the Saladin of Call of Dragons. The reason, you will understand why when we go over the skills, but if you ever played Rise of Kingdoms, or if there is anyone around you that played Rise of Kingdoms, ask them and they will tell you how much of a value they got from having Saladin early in the game. Like, for years, people are still using Saladin, like, it's working just fine. Let's take a look at Gore's skills. First one, Wild Blood. It gives you physical keen, attack bonus up to 50%, and resistance up to 15%. This time, damage taken reduction goes to 6 seconds when you max the skill. I think this is a really nice skill. Like, it's the best of both worlds. You have the damage, you have the defense, I mean tankiness, so it's really good. And the second one is counterattack damage bonus and infantry defense. Again, this skill, just like this one, is again best of both worlds. It gives you some damage, which is the main damage type that infantry or melee units in general do. Well, cavalry actually do a lot of skill damage and everything, but yeah, for infantry, counterattack damage is going to be like your main damage type unless you build a specific march for heavy damage. So having that, boosting that counterattack is really good. And also some tankiness with infantry defense. The third one, Ruthless. Now this is an important skill. When Goresh's Legion launches a counterattack, they have a 50% chance to deal additional damage up to 5 surrounding legions. This wording is important. Surrounding legions. Each additional target reduces 15%, blah blah blah. Okay. The first section is the most important part, and the skill damage factor, this goes up to 200. Now, the reason why first section is important is because it says surrounding legions, and that surrounding range is actually quite low. Even the range cavalry, which has like very small range compared to archers or mages, even they doesn't surround you technically. So this skill actually works really good in melee combat. If you want to benefit from this one, you have to go into the face of mages or range cavalry or archers, and it's going to be quite challenging, but you will get the best out of the skill. However, like, that's obviously not the best thing to do in the field fighting, but that's the case. It says surrounding legions. What surrounding legions covers is basically mostly melee units, not the ranged ones. Fourth skill, and this is really good. The reason why this is really good is his rally skill is his last skill, just like Saladin. Let's talk about the expertise as well. It's basically boosting the Wild Blood, and instead of 50% physical keen, I mean physical attack, you're gonna get 10% extra, 60%, and resistant damage taken goes up extra 5%. From 15% it goes to 20%. So you are basically boosting the first skill. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. Is it game breaking? Like, it's a super nice awakening skill? I think no. And since his last skill is the rally skill, what you can do with Goresh is basically what you do with Saladin in Rise of Kingdoms. You can get him to 551. Don't unlock the last skill, because in Call of Dragons, unlike Rise of Kingdoms, you cannot actually lock skills. So you get him to 5510. You don't unlock the last one, the fourth one, and you play with him a little bit. And then once you have enough tokens, then you get him to 5551, and I think that's it. You then forget about him and start working on other heroes, because at 5551, you are getting like amazing value from Goresh. So he's a great low investment hero. Now, when it comes to pairings, this is quite important, because I said there are two pairings that you should avoid at all cost. But the good ones first, obviously Skogul. Like, Goresh Skogul is, when you look at both heroes, you can immediately think like, okay, this is like a really good pairing. However, I don't recommend this pairing, but this is not the one that I'm talking about, the two that you must avoid. You can certainly use this pairing. Yeah, there is no problem with it, because they have a really good synergy, counterattack and everything. But I think Skogul works really good with Garwood, and because of that, if you're going to run multiple infantry marches, I would pair Skogul with Garwood. This means we need another pairing for Goresh. So what are the options? Option number one, I would say the cheaper option is going to be Eliana and Indis. I think for like extreme budget option, both of them are going to work really, really good. But if you're chasing better pairings, I think Nika works really, really good. Like damage-wise, I think you're going to deal a lot of damage, you know, with counterattack and bruise and everything. Thea could be a really good option. And last but not least, you can definitely give Hosk a chance if you already have Awakened. But let's talk about the two that you must avoid at all costs. The number one is Garwood. Now, both are infantry heroes. I was about to say commanders again. This Rise of Kingdoms and Call of Dragons thing, oh my god. The reason is, in Call of Dragons, the effects coming from at least from the same source. I think they do stack if it's from another source. But as long as it's coming from the same source, it's not going to stack on top of each other. It will just overwrite each other. And Goresh has damage taken reduction, aka resistance, and it's coming from a skill. And if you look at Garwood, he does have pretty much exact same skill, resistance, 20% damage taken reduction, and this is also coming from a skill. So basically these resistance skills cannot stack on top of each other. So what you want to do is to just avoid. And the other one is going to be Madeline. If you look at Madeline's first skill, again, it grants you physical keen, so it's not going to stack on top of each other. And if you awaken Madeline on top of physical keen, and now again, you are going to get the resistance, reducing damage taken 10% for 4 seconds. So in my opinion, you should not pair Goresh with Madeline or Garwood. And as I said at the start of the pairing section, Garwood already, in my opinion, works really good with Skogul. So why would you pair Garwood with Goresh? Because they have anti-synergy. So what you want to do is avoid Madeline, avoid Garwood, but you can basically try anything else like Eliana, Indis, Thea, Bakar if you want to, like a heavy damage dealing infantry march. If you're going to use one march and for some reason you didn't invest on Garwood, and then you can certainly pair Goresh with Skogul. Now let's take a look at the best artifacts for this hero. I think there are two. I mean, obviously you can try many different artifacts, but two of them are going to be the best. One will be the latest one, Spiritborn Torque, because it grants you 600 rage and taunts up to 5 surrounding enemy legions, forcing them to attack your legion, and it gives you shelter, extra defense, determination, normal attack damage taken, and infantry units in your legion 10% more count. Like, basically, this artifact is made for Goresh. I think it's going to work great. And this next one is going to be Dragon Scale Armor. Grants a boon shield to your legion. Shield factor 2.2k. Shield duration 10 seconds. Grants keen up to 3 friendly legions. This is also plus range damage taken minus 9%. And this obviously goes up, blah, blah, blah. Again, like Dragon Scale Armor and Spiritborn Torque are going to be the best artifacts for Goresh. Now, let's take a look at the talent tree. Since I haven't, like, this account, I don't actually plan this account. This is like my first ever account in Call of Dragons, and I don't plan on this one anymore. But this is the only one at Season 2 Plus, so I had to log into this one. So I'm going to use this thing, Infantry and Tank. So basically, exactly the same talent tree. Infantry, Rally, Tank. We are not going to put anything on Rally. So we are going to go with infantry and tank talents. Let's get rid of the tank section first because it's going to be smaller. After you grab overall defense, you want to definitely go ahead and get the overall movement speed. And then I advise you to take this one, All Conquering. Takes less normal attack damage. I think it's going to help you quite a bit. And now here, you can either go for Unyielding Spirit or Impregnable Defense. I think both choices are okay. This one reduces your skill damage taken, and this one increases your defense and gains you shelter. So, but I will probably reduce my hero skill damage taken rather than this one. So yeah, but as I said, both options are okay. Let's go to infantry part. Basically, we will repeat what we did at the tank section. After we grab this one again, we will go to movement speed. Now this one, increase your legion healing. You're not going to pair Goresh with Garwood. Yeah, if you pair with Skogul, she does have healing, but like the benefit of this is I think quite small. Instead, I would get extra normal attack damage, and in here I will probably go with Cool-Headed because like Furious is also like valid option, but again, like there are so many things that already increasing the attack of Goresh, so I would definitely try to make him more tanky by getting Cool-Headed. You know, when you cast raid skills, you gain shelter, again increasing your defense, blah blah blah. After this one, you want to go ahead and grab All Conquering again, just like we did from the tank tree. you take less normal attack damage, and in here, definitely, last word. Your Legion deals more counterattack damage, and with Goresh, your main damage type is going to be like mainly counterattack, so you definitely want to buff it. And then I would go for Encouraging Dance because his rage skill is pretty good. And as the last one, instead of Ready for Battle, I would go for Iron Will. Extends duration for buff effects gained through rage skills by 1 second when your Legion is composed entirely of infantry units, and that's what you're going to do. Obviously, your Legion is going to be full infantry, and you are getting buffs from your active skill, aka your rage skill, so I will definitely get the Iron Will. And I think for pets, if we talk about pets, the one that I would go with probably Sand Lizard. You can also use Venomous Lizard, but I think Sand Lizard is going to be the best. Hope you guys liked it, hope you guys enjoyed it. I see you guys on another Call of Dragons video. This was my in-depth guide for Goresh. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want me to make more Call of Dragons videos. Goodbye.